Okay, today on the show, we have Krista Mashore from Krista Mashore Coaching. Let me tell you about Krista. Now, Krista has been in the top 1% of realtors nationwide for 20 years, selling over 2,300 homes. She is also in the top 1% of coaches nationwide. Now, Krista is the author of 4 best-selling books, focusing on digital marketing, and was named Yahoo Finance's #1 digital marketer to watch in 2021. Now, she's been featured in Forbes, Inman News, The Wall Street Journal, NBC, Fox, and many more. Krista recently went from $0 to $30 million in just under 4 years. Now, Krista has a master's degree in curriculum and instruction. She's always being a teacher at heart and loves serving people, and has turned her attention to sharing the secrets of her successes by coaching agents and professionals across the country. Through her coaching, teaching, speaking, and training, Krista is revolutionizing the way agents and professionals market themselves online. She offers an innovative step-by-step approach on how agents and entrepreneurs can gain a massive digital footprint. She is also the host of the podcast Fired Up, where she discusses digital marketing strategies to help you dominate your industry. Her podcast is available anywhere podcasts are served. Again, it is called Fired Up with Krista Mashore. We will have a link to that in the podcast notes. Also, please visit her website. We have a special link just for our Keeping It Real podcast listeners, which is Krista Mashore. I'm going to spell that for you. That's Krista. Mashore is Mashore. So KristaMashore.com/bootcamp podcast. So KristaMashore.com/bootcamp podcast. Krista, welcome to the show.
Oh my God, I need to lower that. That is way too long of an intro. I was like, who wrote that thing?
Hey, you know what? You've done a lot, and we are so excited. I was just joking with Krista earlier. I said, this is going to be a light lifting day for me as the host, because Krista hosts her own show and also coaches agents. So this is a perfect fit for us. And this is, I don't know when this will be released, but we are recording. Krista and I are both recording our very first podcast of 2022. We are very excited about that. So Krista, again, thank you for being our first guest for the new year, which we greatly appreciate. But tell us a little bit. I always like to start at the very beginning, because I always think our audience loves to hear someone's origin story. So you tell us about how you got into real estate, what that was like, and then eventually the shift to coaching, which is so perfect for what we do here. So let's tell us about it.
DJ, thank you so much for having me, and congratulations on your podcast being like in the top 20 of podcasts on Apple, which is freaking awesome. It shows, I mean, that's hard to do.
Thank you. 1%. Thanks. Our silly little show gets some listeners. We appreciate it. And by the way, just as a quick plug for myself, since I never do this, please leave us a review in iTunes or whatever pod, and do it for Krista too. Again, her podcast is Fired Up. You go subscribe to it right now, and make sure to leave us both the review. It really, really helps us reach more people, and also tells us what you like and what you don't like about the show, and that helps us improve. So anyway, Krista, I was stealing your thunder, so back to you.
No, you're great. Okay, so I got into real estate. I used to be a teacher, and I taught 3rd grade for 6 years, and my daughter got really sick. And so, like really, really sick. They told me she was probably going to die. Of course she didn't. She's 20 now, but she got sick, and she got spinal meningitis and had kidney failure and strokes and all these things. And so I left teaching to be a stay-at-home mom, because they told me that she probably was going to have a lot of developmental problems. And so I thought, well, I need to be home. So I left teaching to be a stay-at-home mom. And then I thought, I'll just play real estate at the same time. And but what happened was I found out really quickly that my husband at the time was having an affair. So I had to jump into real estate. So I sold 69 houses my first year in real estate.
Whoa. I'm just going to let that sink in for everyone listening. Krista we'll repeat it just in case it slid right by you. Krista sold 69 homes in her first year. And I will just quantify that by saying we have about 800 agents at our company. Not one person's ever done that at our company in their first year. That is, and everyone listening is in shock and awe. So we will get back to that, but I just wanted to pause, because that is an incredible achievement that probably less than 0.1% of new agents do in their first year. So congratulations just on that alone.
Thank you. When your back is behind a wall, anything is possible. I always tell everyone anything is possible. Like when you have to do it. We had just bought a new house, and all of a sudden my bank accounts were drained, and we had a new home, and I left my job, and I was like, oh crap, I got to make this work. So I just jumped all in, and now look,
amazing.
20 years later, here I am.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So,
but I'm sorry, before we move forward, just because I'm so interested in this, and again, I know this is 20 years ago and people will say, well, things are different, and maybe things were a little different, but how did you actually start that? And, how did you find those clients? And I apologize for breaking your momentum here, but I'm so interested in how you did this.
So it's so funny. Part of me doesn't remember. I know that sounds crazy,
Sure.
but I'm like, how did I do it? But I will say one thing that I did do early on in real estate. And that was, I was studying what my competitors were doing. And I tried to always do things completely differently or better. So like, for example, back when people were doing, 1-page black and white flyers back, I would do 4-page colored brochures and take like the CD and put the CD on the sign with like 50 pictures on the sign.
Smart.
Things like that. I remember I marketed myself. I was on the buses. I marketed myself. I invested in myself, right? I marketed myself on TV commercials back in the day. At the movie theater, I did ads. So I just tried to like what other people weren't willing to do, I did. Sure. And it just, completely. And that's how I approach real estate now. I approach everything. I try to make sure that anything that I do, I'm doing things differently and more innovative and standing out. And it's so important because like agents are, not to be rude, but they're a commodity. They're a dime a dozen. Everybody knows them. Like, it's, what the craziest thing is? It takes 135 hours for a real estate agent to get their pre-licensing in California, but it takes 1,600 hours to get your cosmetology license and 600 hours to get your esthetician license. But a realtor, the most important thing, 135 hours. It's crazy, That
is crazy.
So, I just, I like to be different. And so if I can give any advice to a new agent or anyone listening, and that is and you should know your competition. You should be looking at their websites, looking at the ads they run, seeing what they're doing, looking at their marketing and seeing where the gaps are. How can you improve upon what they're doing? How can you make what they're doing even better? How can you really, really, truly have your unique selling proposition, your value add? What makes you different? And if you can't answer that question, you are a commodity, you are replaceable. And the only thing you have to differentiate yourself is price, right? Which means you're going to constantly be lowering your price, lowering your commission. And I want to encourage you not to do that, but increase your value, right? Increase your level of perceived value.
Yeah, I was going to just break in with I could not agree more with you. And I understand there are instances where people feel that they should discount their fee to, win a particular deal. And fine, if you want to do that, I guess that's okay. But if you're able to, you should know why you charge what you charge, and you should be able to defend that. And it should be pretty good, because if it's done correctly, fees really shouldn't play into it most of the time. If you're able to have that conversation and be able to say, I want to, and if it was me, if I was a practicing agent, it might almost, and maybe I wouldn't do this as much with buyers, but on the seller side, I would sit down and say, I want to talk about fees before it even ever comes up. Or, at some point during the conversation, I would say, now's the point where I talk about what I charge, why I charge it, and how it benefits you. And if you aren't doing that, I know if I was a seller, I'd be thinking the whole time, what is this going to cost me? What does somebody else down the street do it for? And so that's just my little 2 cents there. But I could not agree with you more that you should not discount your fees simply because Redfin charges 1% to a seller or a buyer, or however some of these discount places work. You don't have to do that if you have incredible value that you're providing.
So true. And unfortunately, most agents are never taught how to provide value, right? They're told to do open houses and do door knock and cold call and put it in the MLS and do broker's tour. And so what we do is we go in there and tell people why broker's tours don't work and why open houses are ineffective, and completely like what everyone else is saying, we're saying the exact opposite and why you shouldn't do it. Like, I'll give you an example. Today, sure. I just got done recording a video. So before the year ended, I did a 2022 market forecast, right? We did like a 6 video series, like going over the market in 2021, explaining what our forecast is going to be. Yesterday, I spent literally 8 hours. I know it sounds like a lot, but I spent 8 hours because I wanted this video to be really good, where I analyzed the numbers of like the 2021 listings, and I compared. So the question was, does hiring a discount or flat fee broker make a difference? Does proper marketing and experience make a difference? And then I showed like all the numbers. And let me tell you, it's going to be about an 8-minute video, which I know seems like a lot, but I can show that, okay, in one city, in this price range, right, from homes that are all single family homes in Brentwood in 2021 that had lot sizes of under an acre. And I explained why I didn't include an acre, because that's like, it changes the number so bad, that we were able to sell our homes an average of anywhere from 14 to 22% higher on our $166,000 more. It wasn't, we just didn't sell one home, right? We sold 29 homes in that city. 20 of them were in those parameters. And then we compared the same parameters to everybody else and what their stats were. And then we showed what it was. And then we compared a discount broker. So I'm like, here's a discount broker. They're flat rate. They say they're 1%er or flat fee. And by using the 1%er, you are losing $122,000. So yes, it makes a difference of who you hire. So now when I talk to, before I go on a listing appointment, I have this whole process that I do, which we get every listing, but we send a 17-minute pre-listing marketing video. Now we're going to add that video to it as well and say, hey, if you want to see why, what I just showed you, what it makes a difference in your money, watch this next video. And so it's like doing the selling for me. I get there, all I have to do is they're like, we don't care, Krista, about commission. Like, we want you, where do we sign? I've already won before I arrive. Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And I want to break that down a little bit, because you just said a lot of all really, really awesome things that many of the guests that we've had on the show have not talked about. So I'm going to just go back a moment. And Chris and I were talking about objections, right? We're talking about the idea that, what you charge might come up as a sticking point. Well, one of the really brilliant ways Krista so I said, well, you should sit down and talk to people and explain it. And yes, you should definitely have that ready. But Krista goes one step further and says, I don't even want that to get to that point. I want to go over that ahead of time. And I want to use data and actual research, not just charisma and, hey, I'm a cool, nice guy and you're going to want to give me more because you like me. Of course, that would be great too. But this idea of, we're going to take a look at all of the discount brokers in the area, and we're going to see what their average price point was in my particular, community. And by the way, this is such a brilliant strategy, because she said at the very beginning, Krista said something really important: know your competition. And it's not just in advertising and in the digital marketing, it's also in presentation. And this is a great way, because if you do charge, maybe you charge 7% to your listers or whatever fee you want to charge, or maybe it's more or less, but you can you can already pre-clear those hurdles that might be coming up by sending them information. If somebody say, hey, watch this video. Now, whether they watch or not, of course, you don't really know, but eventually.
Oh, yes, we do. We track it. And let me tell you something, everybody watches the video. And you know why? Because it's their most valued asset. And I say, hey, promise you're going to watch the video, because it's really important. This is your most valued asset. So I have your commitment. You're going to watch the video. Yes, Krista, watch the video. I'm not kidding you, DJ. If I go on 100 listing appointments and I have 98 of them watch the video, like they all watch the video, incredible. I can track it to see that they have, and they watch it. And so the thing is that, and this whole video is, imagine a 17-minute long video where you're like, okay, this is why you don't do open houses, because according to the National Association of Realtors, less than 3% of homes sold with an open house. However, 67% of buyers will walk through a home that they see online, according to NAR. So look at these numbers. See these 10 homes I just sold. This one had 600 hours of watch time. This one had 13,000, comments. This one had, 186,000 people at reach. And I show them over and over again, all these stats about why they want to utilize us to market their home. And then I explain the whole marketing process and what makes us different. And, they're being told to do this, but why that's wrong. I'm being so prolific, and people are like, I didn't want to do an open house anyways because they suck. I'm like, yeah, that's dangerous. And they're like, thank you for being honest. And like, we all know that broker store doesn't work for the seller, it works for the broker, because you're calling your friend saying, please show up to the house. Like, can you show up during the broker tour? We all know that. They know it too. But they, especially if they meet with an agent that's really, really honest about it, but they can, again, through data and facts, show, not tell why it's important. Commission does not come up. And people are like, that's all you charge. I'm like, yeah, here you go. It doesn't even come up.
And this idea of the open house, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do want to make a quick point, because Krista just said something really important about open houses. you can explain in maybe your explainer video, which we were talking about, creating some explainer videos before you get to the listing presentation, or a buyer presentation, I guess. But you could also talk about what an open house really does. And what it really does is it makes the seller think the agent's doing something. And the other thing does is it was a possible great lead source for that agent to sell other homes to the people that walk in, because nobody buys, very few people ever buy a home through an open house. So just explaining that alone, most of the competition is not going to have explained that. They're going to say, we're going to do open houses. It's going to be great. And you're going to say, we can do that for you, but here's why it's not that important for you that we do an open house. And I guess if somebody says, we really want you to do one, you can probably figure out a way to do one, but this is not going to help you sell the home. And here's why. I mean, think about it. You're dispelling myths. You're overcoming objections before they even come up. Brilliant. Absolutely.
And you're telling the truth. Like you're telling the truth. Yeah. And I'd love to show you, like, just if we have time, like 2.5 minutes of the 17-minute long video. Cause I know it'll blow your mind, number one, but you'll be like, holy crap, I totally get it. And now imagine, so if we have time, I can share my screen and I'll show it to you, but it just gives people an example. So the more that you can position yourself different, right? And my coach always used to tell me, Krista, be as prolific as possible, right? If everyone else is saying do open houses, you say don't do open houses. Everyone else is saying like you have got to like, and that's the truth. And people, they know it. They're smart. They understand that the reason why most agents aren't doing these things is they've not been taught and they're not investing in it. So it's just fun, like, so what we do is we use video to get to our community to get to know us, to like us and trust us. But the key is we properly distribute the video. So if you're creating video content, and here's the thing about video content, is that when you create video content, number one, as long as people are seeing it, which you need to properly do it, and we teach people how to do that, but then what's happening is your community is getting to know you, you're positioning yourself as the expert, you're showing that you're the authority, you're breaking down their barriers, they're developing a relationship with you. It's actually called a parasocial relationship, which means that people, like just like a TV character, you like cheer for them, you cry for them, you yell for them. It's the same thing that happens with video with people. And so now when I walk into the door, they already feel like they know me, right? And so the more that I could break down their barriers and let them see that I am the expert, I'm winning before I arrive. I have my conversions just increased so high, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, research shows that you work with someone that like and trust. So I've already, we help with that. So we take the videos, we figure out what's happening in the market, like what problems are happening and how we can become the solution. So remember, in order for you to be considered a solution, you must be solving a problem. So what problems are people having? Then we create content around that. We target people through social media on Facebook, and then we can retarget people, which means, so like DJ, if I write a video on selling and like 5 secrets when selling your house, or 3 reasons why homes don't sell, or the 5 biggest mistakes sellers make when selling. If we can see people are watching this video, then we target more information about selling, right? So now we're bringing them down a funnel. And then at the end, it's like, hey, would you like a market analysis of your home? So that one strategy, people raising their hand and saying, yes, I'd like a market analysis. We closed way more than this, but 48 transactions resulting in $740,000 of commissions just from doing that. But here's the key, because we know that they're thinking about selling. So now that I know that they've watched these videos about selling, they're raising their hand asking for a market analysis. So here's what we do, which is crazy. Now I then hand deliver the market analysis as well as email it. We do, if we knock on the door, if they don't answer, we do a quick little bomb video and say, hey, check your porch. I just dropped off a market analysis.
Smart.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, we also did a customized video review of a market analysis for you. So check your email. So we actually go and do a video analysis on Zoom like this, share our screen. I drop off a book that I wrote called Savvy Seller, along with my marketing plan. And then I direct them to the 17-minute marketing video. They see all of that just because they requested. Now people are like, you do all that stuff. Well, yeah, I got 48 transactions from it that resulted in $740,000+ because I know they're interested in selling. Okay. Now at this point, if they're interviewing other people, no one else sent a marketing video. No one else did a marketing plan. Nobody else wrote a book. Nobody else sent them to their seller funnel with 15 videos on it. And all those things also are getting now digitally sent to them. And then I'm now also retargeting them testimonial videos from past clients. I'm showing them marketing, like how I market my properties. I'm targeting them that. And I'm also now sending them more videos about my community, more videos about education, about real estate. So now it's like, there's this omnipresence that I'm everywhere because I am. And I'm doing what no one else is doing. So this is the kind of thing that if agents can do, this is how you take an agent that's never sold a house before, it was brand new in the industry or brand new to an area, and within 12 months, they will be beating top producers. And I see it happen every single day.
Yeah, it is incredible. And gosh, you just said so much. I want to talk about the retargeting, because for those of us that might have heard that and aren't familiar with that term, what Krista's referring to is when someone visits a particular web page or website, there's a pixel on there. And if you're doing ads on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, the different Facebook owned or Meta now owned properties, Facebook can pay attention to when people visit your website. And then when they go back to either Facebook, Instagram, or even some of the other properties where Facebook advertises, Krista's Facebook will now serve up to those same people testimonial videos. So if they already hit a certain part of the funnel, then Krista knows that they're going to be sent very specific sort of next step funnel videos that will help them get to that close. So her digital marketing is doing a good majority of the work. Now she's still showing up, knocking on the door, hand delivering stuff, which, by the way, even if you just did that with no digital marketing, that would be above and beyond what everyone else does. I mean, maybe there's one or two other realtors that might do that, but pretty much even that in and of itself is completely amazing and above and beyond. But she's also, I mean, you have your whole entire system completely streamlined. And I'm not saying it's easy, and it certainly isn't easy, but it is streamlined and it's efficient and it works.
Totally works. Yeah. It positions you as being different, right? And so if someone says, oh my gosh, you're the only agent that did all these things. And I can say, hey, my job is to get a 5-star review from you. And you can only imagine, if I did all this before you even hired me, what it's going to look like when you actually hire me and are paying me. Let's get started. I mean, it's just like, and
I love it.
You know, when they tell you, oh, I'm interviewing multiple people, as soon as you do all these things, they cancel the interviews with other people. It's like, they're just like, they don't ask you about commission. They're just like, what's all this going to, that's it? You're going to do all that? I'm like, yeah, we do all this stuff. And when you can show the reasoning behind why you're doing it, right? And based upon data and analysis and really kind of show how unique you are. And that's what agents need to do now. Like I saw Zillow's coming after our jobs, right? Zillow wants us. There's so many different, from iBuyer, all these different things happening. We have to be different. What used to work is not going to work anymore. And I don't know if you've done any research about 2022, but if you thought 2021 was hard, look in the mirror. You have the exact same thing coming ahead of you. The research shows that inventory is not going to be going up. It's going to still be hard as possible to get loans. Rates are still going to be incredibly low, not as low as they were, but still very, very low. And you have got to be different and unique. If people are not thinking about you prior to making the move, prior to making the decision, you're too late. They need to be thinking about you, seeing you top of mind months before they're ready to make a decision, so that when it's time to make a decision, they've already made the decision and it's you.
Yeah, here's a really low tech example of this. And this one is, for a lot of our listeners, they're going to say, well, it's going to be very costly. And so I'm just going to use this as an example of ways that you can find your own way through this. But we have 46,000 agents in the Chicagoland area here. There is one agent who has all of in the grocery stores, those dividers where they sell advertising on the dividers. He has every single grocery store. There's a big chain here called Mariano's. He has every single Mariano's so now you think, okay, well, so what? And normally I would say, okay, yeah, I'm sort of with you. A lot of these print ad stuff doesn't really work, except if you're going to the grocery store every week and somebody in your family they're touching it, they're seeing it, and he's the only guy doing it. And he's also in every shopping cart as well. And as silly as it is, and as low tech as it is, it absolutely works for him. And he's not a dumb guy, and he's actually a really good digital marketer too. But even if you're doing a lower tech solution, think outside the box. That is actually a really smart thing, because people are going there and seeing it every single week, most likely. So you can, but I love the idea of the fully automated system as well. So tell us a little bit, because you actually teach agents how to do this.
Yes. Yes. So, okay. So we teach agents how to create video content, which I know most people would rather eat dog crap than think about having to record a video like that. It scares people, and they say things like, well, Krista, you do good at video because you're cute and because you have a good personality. And I'm like, hey, listen, doesn't matter what you look like, how young you are, how old you are, how new you are in the business, how big your city is, how small your city is. It'll work if you will work it. It's just a matter of training yourself, and anything can be taught, anything can be coached, anything can be trained, right? To learn to kind of just do things differently and getting over that fear. That's what you look like. That's what you sound like. That's you. And you can't put a bag over your head when you go on to meet a seller or a buyer, right? So getting this content in front of people, we teach them how to do that. And then we teach them how to actually get it seen, because people will create video content, but if nobody's seeing it, and like, for example, you know this, DJ, on social media platforms, the only people that are seeing your content are your friends, your family, your grandma, your dog, Pepper, right?
And only maybe like less than 10% of those people are even seeing it.
Yes, totally. Exactly.
Like 3% or something.
Yes,
it's just crazy.
Yes. And to get a video to go viral, it's 0 to 2% of videos go viral. It's like, because there's like 1 billion hours of video every day, like uploaded onto YouTube and everywhere else.
Sure,
so if we teach them how to take this content so it's getting seen by their whole entire community and their friends and family, but by everyone, and they're seen over and over and over again. There's a lot of research about people being seen, the frequency of it, how that helps conversions, and that helps what they call persuasion, right?
Sure.
It helps convert and all this kind of stuff. So now you're developing a relationship with your community. You're positioning yourself as an expert. You're being seen. You're not being forgotten. And then now, if you learn to do that with yourself, imagine you can also do that with your properties, and you can show how that type of marketing then can help the seller. So it all kind of goes, because I'm focusing on sellers, right? We don't want buyers that are like impossible to show, like 87 homes, 57 offers. Nobody wants to do that. So focusing on sellers. And so now all of a sudden you start to control the market. So we teach them how to number one, get visibility, how to get massive exposure, so they start attracting business and not chasing it. Kind of like you gave the example of people raising their hand and saying, hey, I'd like a market analysis. Most people start with that. Would you like to go to my seller seminar? Would you like to go to buyer? Would you like to go to my thing? Download this, download that. That's not the case. You want to start with developing a relationship, identifying who you're going after and what they want. And then once you've given them that, then send them to give you their information. Hey, yes, go to my seminar, but don't start there. Most agents start there. We teach them not to start there, but to end there, and then continuing to show top of mind. So when you do this, things just become so much easier. And it's kind of like if I saw you, DJ, or you called me and said, Krista, you want to have lunch? I'd be like, heck yeah, man. I love your podcast. I'm like, keeping it real. Yeah, let's do it. Because I feel like I know you because I've listened to you. Yeah. Right. And you experience that, don't you? Where you're from, I'm sure.
We do. Yeah.
Yes. Well, add video to it, and it's the exact same thing. People start talking to you in the grocery store like that you're best friends, and they think they know you, and they're having conversations, and then it's like all the hard stuff goes away. So we teach people how to do that, and then we teach them how to create like massive marketing materials to convert. For example, how to be a co-author with me on a book, and how to write this beautiful marketing plan, how to do this 17-minute listing presentation video, and how to every month create content that will help them convert and position themselves as the expert. And it's just this like kind of a business in a box that we give them, but it's teaching them to do things completely contradictory to what they were taught to do. They can do open houses and cold call and all that stuff. And in fact, when they do, they're even more successful at it because they're like, people know them. But it's not like you get into real estate because you want to have more time and freedom, just to realize you have none, right? Like, you're working every weekend, nights, like it sucks. So we teach them how to get their life back, how to enjoy what they're doing again, and how to just kind of dominate in a totally non-traditional ways.
And just something that occurred to me that I forgot to mention, guess what happens when someone gets put into Krista's sales funnel, watches videos, is interested, but all of a sudden isn't in her service area. Maybe it's in another state or another part of LA or wherever, where you're just like, I don't know that area. I don't go there. I'm not licensed in that state. Krista then finds an agent in that state and says, how would you like a referral, Mr. and Mrs. Broker? And of course, everyone says yes. She earns a referral commission, and she is now earning money without having to do much of anything except attract people through her content.
Yes. So on the podcast, if you let me share my screen, I can show you.
Let's not do it here, only because, but I can link to it.
If you can,
I can add it in, because 99% of our audience doesn't watch us, they listen.
They
So
listen, okay.
but I'm going to put a link to it in the
Perfect.
show notes. And so for everyone listening, if you're listening through an audio app for podcasts, look in the show notes, you'll see a link to it. But also while you're there, please subscribe to Krista's podcast, which is called Fired Up. So just look at any podcast app, you don't look for Fired Up with Krista, Krista, and hit the subscribe button. But Krista, and also please visit her website. So go to KristaMashore.com / that was Bootcamp Podcast. So once again, KristaMashore.com / Bootcamp Podcast. But anyway, Krista, I would like to ask you about content, because you have a very professional and elegant look to you. Not everyone has that same look. And so for people that are watching you going, oh my gosh, I don't look like her, can I still become successful? Because you talked about it doesn't matter what you look like. Let's talk about that. How important is it that we use professional videographers when we're shooting our content? How important is it that we have our hair and our makeup done? Is that important, or are there things that are more important?
Okay, so the research shows that the quality of the content is more important than the quality of the video, graphics and all that kind of a thing, right? When I'm creating a video that I'm specifically putting in front of a seller before I go on a listing presentation, I make sure that I have my makeup on and the video is conveying professionalism. Okay.
Sure.
But there's plenty of times, like, people will use that as an excuse. And I understand, people will say, I've had a lot of people have accents and they're afraid that people aren't going to like their accent, which is so bizarre to me because I love listening to accents, right? And I've heard that so many times from my students. But we've taught people that are, very grossly overweight, let's say, or that are in their 70s to do this. And it's a matter of you attract the right people. And we teach them, sometimes you're creating content when you're dressed up like this, right? Sometimes you're creating content when you're looking like a hot mess and you're in your kitchen, you're just using your cell phone. All you need is a cell phone. You don't need any fancy equipment. You just need a cell phone. You just need to start. And you're going to start developing a relationship with your community. And as you start to you can learn to get better. But the idea is just to start. Every single person has a cell phone. We all do. And those cell phones are in many cases better than a lot of the cameras out there. So just don't worry about the graphics and the effects. Just start and see what happens, right?
And maybe first start thinking about problems that you can solve. And that could be as simple as think about all your client experiences. What questions come up? Where do people get really stressed? Where do they freak out? And when someone's buying possibly the largest asset of their financial life, or selling their largest asset or one of their largest assets, they're going to be freaked out. They're going to be emotional. Yeah. So even if you just talked about the emotional part of how challenging it is to buy or sell something, that alone, everybody can relate to who's ever bought or sold something. So there's lots of content, but you said something really important at the beginning was know what your clients' problems are. And that doesn't have to be all the content, because it could be, hey guys, here's what I'm doing today. Here's kind of a cool little insight into my life. But let's talk about that. So how much of the content that you post on social media is, here's what's going on in my life, versus here is content to help solve a problem that the audience might be having?
I try to mix it up big time, right? So like we'll do, hey, this is a great tip that I learned. One of the things we teach is to be a reporter. So people are always worried about what they should say or talk about on
right,
on social media. And what I say is be a reporter. Like, for example, today I had a free accelerator where I taught people just to get comfortable with video. And I showed them this little trick called stop, snap, and switch. And what that is it's like, anytime you have a negative thought, whether it's I'm too heavy, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm tired, you notice the negative thought, you snap the bracelet and then move it over to the other hand. And then you rephrase that negative statement into a positive one, right? Stop, snap, and switch. So I said, hey, talk and go teach that today. Teach people about the stop, snap, and switch trick. Tell them why it's important, why thoughts become things, and your thoughts turn into your actions, turn your life, and go teach that. If you listen to a good podcast, you read a good book, you find a good tip or trick, you eat at a great restaurant, you have the best happy hour drink of your life, like be like, oh my God, I'm at Zephyr right now. We just have the best martinis and they are on sale like 50% off every day from 5 to 6. So come down here and make sure you say hi if you run into me. and just start creating content like that. And then you're also going to be talking about, oh my gosh, the real estate market is so crazy right now. There's only 34 active homes on the market right now in Brentwood, which is historically low. I've never seen it in 20 years. What does this mean? That means that it's going to look just like 2021, right? So you mix it up and you just, what I would say is at first, just to get comfortable using video, one strategy that I teach my students, and we've been able to track that on average, you'll pick up 2 new listings a month, 2 new buyers or sellers a month, is taking your cell phone, going through your contact list or going on social media, seeing something that someone does. So for example, okay, DJ, it's like, I'm on social media today. I see DJ, I see this awesome podcast that you did. So it's like, hey DJ, it's Krista. I just wanted to let you know, I saw that you did a Keeping It Real podcast. Oh, it was so awesome. Just thinking about you, wanted to say hi. Hope you're having a great day. Send, right? Don't ask for business. Don't ask for referrals. Don't tell them how great you are. Do 10 of those a day, video text messages. It's going to do a couple of, oh my God, the massive results, like massive. One of my students, she said, Krista, I made more money this month, over $30,000 this month than I made all of last year. And every single one of them came from video text messages. So it's like just a great way. People love it. They feel happy. You're not asking for business. Even if it's like, hey, DJ, I'm so sorry I haven't kept in contact for the past 5 years.
Yeah, you can just apologize. I'm going to do a better job in 2022. And I just wanted to say, I was thinking about you. I hope you're safe. Hope you're happy. Yes. Please let me know if anything's changed for you. But I just wanted to say, I hope you have a great year.
Yes.
Easy.
Yes. And then what happens? Like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking of selling her. Oh my gosh, I just talked to so-and-so yesterday and they forgot about you. This helps people remind you, keeps you top of mind. It's a great way to learn to get comfortable on video. And then I love what you said, right, DJ? Identify what are the major, and if you've never sold a house before, talk to your broker, interview a top producer in there, ask them like, what are like some of the biggest mistakes that you think buyers make, or the biggest concerns buyers have, or what's the best thing you've ever done as a seller to, what's your best advice to a seller, and interview them and then go do a video on it. Right. And what happens is that perception is reality. So when people see you over and over again, remember, they're continuing to develop that relationship with you. Its perception is, oh my gosh, DJ is doing a lot of business. It's so funny. I have an agent, her name was Sue LaFave. She got voted best agent in her city. Okay. This is the crazy thing. She didn't people, they say, vote for me, vote for me. She did not. She never sold a house yet. She got voted best agent in her, swear to God, she had never sold a house yet, but she was creating all this content. And she was like, I did a podcast about her, and she actually reached out to me on Facebook, and she's like, I was cracking up. I heard your reference to me winning the Rochester Best Agent of the Year. She goes, I just had my first 6-figure quarter. Right. Yes.
Amazing.
It's amazing how well it works.
I love all of that. And here's another just quick idea, just to tag on to all the other great ideas you mentioned. If you're wondering, if you don't have that knowledge or the content that right now that you want to put out there, one of the things you could do, and Krista sort of said this, and I'm just going to expound a bit, is right now, who is suffering, especially during COVID, right? We have retail, right? Retail's suffering, and you live in a community, and we know real estate's hyper local, and your reputation is probably hyper local too. Go around to some of those businesses that you really like and you want to help succeed, and just do a little Facebook Live or Instagram Live, or even just record the video ahead of time, and I mean, ask the owner and say, I just want to come in and help maybe promote your business a little bit. And then you could go in and say, tell me about such and such clothing shop or restaurant or whatever. And that could be a 2-minute video where you're just like, oh my God, I love it. I love just to eat at your place or buy my clothes there. And even if that's all you did, what's the message people are going to see? Wow, Krista really cares about her community. Look at her trying to help this business. She's not asking for business for her real estate, but the perception is, oh my gosh, she's really going above and beyond. And guess what? You're giving free advertising to the retailer. They are going to be thrilled. And back to your question about how often do we at our podcast, and we've had over 150,000 agents have listened to one of our episodes, which is not meant to brag, because who cares? But this is the important part. I think I've received, I know it's happened at least once, so I'm going to say it's probably happened twice, and probably it's only happened once, but just because my memory is awful, we'll say twice. Maybe 2 times have I've gotten videos from people said, I just want to let you know I'm a big fan. We get emails and we get messages and stuff, but videos maybe twice, and I can only remember one. But that person who I can remember, we booked her immediately, even though she wasn't a top producer. I was like, that's the kind of person I want on the show. Not just because I want people to praise me, but I just thought that shows initiative. That person's going to be a superstar. And I said, I want to talk to that person on the way up. So Krista is absolutely right. It made me feel good to know that somebody took time out of their day to do that for me. And you can do that for anybody, whether it's somebody who, sells, in your community that you want to support, or just your friends who's checking in and see how they're doing right now. Because everyone's struggling. Everyone's getting sick right now. This is a great time. And it's the new year to say, how is your holiday season? How's everyone doing? I'm thinking about you. How, and that's all you have to do.
Yes. And what you're saying, we do that all the time. We interview, we just go and help people, right? When COVID first hit, we did like every single week I would book up like 10 different, I do a Zoom like this, and I would interview 10 different local businesses, and they'd come in and talk about how people could still work with them during COVID. And it helps people so much. And then they want to refer you. And then the community sees that you're doing that, right? And just by you getting out there and being in front of people, helping people, talking about the local community, talking about what's happening, people assume that you're doing business, and it just attracts, it's such an attraction-based marketing piece, and it works so well.
Well, let's talk about your, the boot camp that you do offer. So everyone who's listening, please go to KristaMashore.com/bootcamp podcast. Link for that also in the notes, but tell us what the boot camp is.
Yeah. So it's a 3-day virtual live event, and we have it every single month. It's coming up this month on the 17th, I believe, but it's every single month. So this month, it's the 17th, 18th, and 19th, and it's literally 8 hours each day online, where I teach people about video content, how to create videos that people watch, what to say, how to say it, when to say it. We teach them about marketing, how to have a unique value proposition, how to position themselves different. We teach them about marketing. It's like marketer first, top producer second, right? You want to be a top producer, you got to be a marketer first. We teach them how to utilize different types of marketing strategies to position themselves as the go-to authority in real estate, so they're not chasing business. We don't teach things like open houses and cold calling and door knocking. It's completely contradictory to what they've been taught originally. We teach them a very new, innovative approach to really becoming that go-to community market leader in their area.
I love it. And you can sign up for it by visiting KristaMashore.com/bootcamp podcast. And everything Krista does is right on that website.
And it's only $47. I think we're giving them a discount because of you, DJ. So it's like half price. I'm pretty darn sure right now. So
it is. I just saw that, and it is half price. It is 47, guys. 3 days of content for $47. I would pay probably 10. I have paid 10 times that, now that I think of. In fact, I paid more than 10 times that for 3 days worth of content. That is the cheapest 3 days of content you can get. And this is from somebody who has sold 2,300 homes. She's a top producer for over 20 years. She knows her stuff. She's not a coach who has never practiced, which unfortunately, there's a lot of coaches in this industry that fall into that category, but that's not her. And she's in a ultra competitive area. By the way, the Brentwood market, if you are not familiar with Los Angeles, is one of the most exclusive places to live and own property.
I'm in the other Brentwood by San Francisco, but still.
I am sorry.
Completely massively competitive. Everywhere is competitive, right? Well, and here's the thing, which is crazy, DJ. This year we sold, I think, 56 million in real estate. We did around, I think, 1.5 million in gross commissions earned. And I only work on the real estate business 5 hours a month. I create the video content. I properly distribute it. Now my brother goes in as me, and they see our videos, they see our content, they're hiring our process. So we're doing that, without even, I'm coaching. I coach 97% of the time. So it's so doable for anyone. I know some of these things people hear and they go, that sounds impossible. Krista can only do it because, she's hyper. No, we have taught your normal Joe Blow, total opposite personality of me, how to do this, because you will attract the right type of people, and you will detract the people that are not interested in working with you because they don't like your personality, which makes it better, because then you end up working with people that you like and love, and you enjoy your life again. So, and I love what you said too. It is so true. Like, we've done this, right? DJ, you own a brokerage, you have like 800 agents working for you. You've seen it all. It's like, who do you go to learn something? Somebody who's done it. And right now, digital marketing is essential in your business. And we've mastered it, right? We've mastered digital marketing. So come.
Everyone listening, first, go to KristaMashore.com/bootcamp podcast to get that half off on her 3-day podcast or bootcamp, which is just $47. And also subscribe to her podcast, which is called Fired Up. You can find that anywhere podcasts are served. You can also subscribe to it right from our website, KristaMashore.com. So please, everyone go do this. And I would love to have Krista back on the show. I'm sure everyone listening would love that as well. So let us know in the comments. For the best way you can help us is tell us what you like about the show and also where we can improve. And the best way to do that is
give him a 5-star review on Apple for his wonderful time. This is my favorite podcast that I've done in forever. I had so much fun. You're such the best host, the best personality, and it was so collaborative. And thank you so much, DJ, for having me. I'm really honored to be here.
We are super grateful. So everyone, leave us both reviews. And if you want to leave 5-star reviews, we'd be super honored. But let us know what you like and dislike about the show. But the best way to help us continue to grow and also help Krista, tell a friend. Think of one other agent that could benefit from hearing this great conversation with Krista. Send them a link to our show. Easiest way to do that, if the person isn't a podcast listener, go to keepingitrealpod.com and they can stream every episode we've ever done there. And also KristaMashore.com. You can stream every episode right from her website as well. So listen to her show, listen to my show as well, as you already are. Tell a friend, and thanks for helping us continue to grow. Krista, on behalf of the audience, we want to say thank you. You were an unbelievably great guest. We'd love to have you back. And everyone, please go subscribe to her podcast and check out her boot camp because it is awesome and it's only $47. I know I'm going to check it out. And on behalf of Krista and myself, we want to thank our listeners and our viewers for continuing to support our show and, of course, her show as well. So thank you, Krista. It was a pleasure, and we will see everyone next time.
Thank you.